Welcome to RotoWire Fantasy Football Live. It's week 18. I know a lot of you won't be here today, but some of you are, and I'm happy you're here. Hey, let's get some business out of the way first. So before we get started, I will be working throughout the postseason. So after today, which is Sunday, week 18, this upcoming week, we'll do a Monday reaction show. That'll be a real fun one with Anthony Servino. We'll break down all of today's action. We'll go over the playoffs and, the playoff, talk for getting set up for that. Also, by either Monday night or Tuesday morning. It won't be a live show, but I'm going to drop one on this channel, and that's going to get you ready for doing fantasy playoff challenges. I'll have a show dedicated to that. If you're a RotoWire subscriber, I'll have an article out on that Tuesday morning. If you want a free look at that, rotowire.com/Jim. You can sign up, an email address only. You don't need a credit card. Can get you set up there. I won't do weekend shows during the playoffs, but I'll go again every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday to get you ready for playoff games. So definitely be like, now, Super Bowl week, Monday and Tuesday, I'm going to have a marathon. I'm going to have 57 analysts for Super Bowl 57, and each of them will give some advice on the Super Bowl. They'll tell you about their one takeaway from the season. That's going to be great. You'll enjoy the heck out of that show, so definitely follow me there. Any information will be on my X page at Jim Coventry NFL. So, please consider giving me a follow if you're not already there. All right, last thing. Thank you, everyone. Everybody who watched 1 minute of this show throughout the season, it meant a lot to me. Thank you for letting me be a part of your fantasy football process. We got some wrong, but I think we got a lot more right than we got wrong, and that's always the hope. Give me 5% edge on the field. That's what we're looking to get. So thank you, every single one of you. You mean a lot to me, and I appreciate every single one of you for being with me. Let's see. We got a few comments today. I don't know how many we'll have, but ask any question you have. If it's about an NFL game, if it's about fantasy, if it's about player props, I'll give you everything I have, and we'll get you set up. Disco Dave's in the house. Morning to you. Superflex, full point PPR. You need a receiver and a superflex from McLaurin, Dortch, Slayton, Stidham, and Howell. I do like Slayton here. Tyrod Taylor is definitely going to take some shots, especially when he's on the James Bradbury side of the field. Bradbury's struggling to run downfield. Like, getting vertical for him has been an issue. And remember, Brian Dable played this team couple weeks on Christmas Day, right? And so he has firsthand knowledge of what they're doing. In this game, it's not Tommy DeVito starting, it's Tyrod Taylor. And Taylor can get the ball downfield. So Slayton is a nice play because the Giants are coming into play, spoiler here. That they want to beat the Eagles. They're not going to lay down. Terry McLaurin's always a solid play. It's very possible that if Dallas gets out to a lead, that's big, but they may not. There's a divisional game, right? If they do, but you see, the problem with McLaurin is there's a world where if the game is one way or the other, I could see them playing other players. McLaurin is always a great play, but you have to be very careful. You're taking a big risk because if it gets out of hand one way or the other, they might not play him much. I think the Giants will play everybody. I don't think there's a world where the Giants are really coming off that great 2022 season, and then this has been bad. So I think they're going to play full out. And look, Slayton's playing for his future there, right? Dortch, the matchup's good. I think they're going to have a great success running the ball against Seattle. Dortch is lining up outside a lot. Look, I know that Seattle has been great in coverage. I just think in a must-win for them, I don't think there's a best spot for Dortch. I think they're going to run the ball a lot. Stidham, that's interesting with Stidham, right? Playing the Raiders. Raiders are playing for Antonio Pierce to come out and play hard. I think both teams are going to run the ball a lot here. Sam Howell, he's going to play, and they're not going to likely pull him because if Brissett obviously can't go, he's not coming in. So, there's a good chance, like I said, one way or the other, if Dallas gets out to a lead, they might pull players. So I think of all these, I would imagine that Howell is your super flex. And of your players, I'm going to give the lean to Slayton. But if your gut says McLaurin because he's obviously a superstar, I get it. So, but understand I would consider McLaurin very, very risky, but I would consider Slayton in a good spot here. That's what I would say. And then Howell would be the super flex because there's a lot of scenarios where it goes right for him. Unite Santini. Oh, man, dude, that's awesome. I appreciate you. It helped you with 2 championships last week. Excellent news. I'm very happy that you won, and hopefully you continue that string for many years running. Admiral Nita. Oh man, you won your championship. I got goosebumps from these messages. You guys are awesome. And people winning their championships is all I care about here, right? That's awesome. Jay Red in the championship this week with the horrible. Yeah, this is this the first snow game of the season? I think it is. I don't remember. I mean, I'm old. I forget some things, but I don't remember snow games. I don't think we've had any. We've had plenty of rain games, including yesterday. And funny thing is, this might be one of the 3 coldest games here. 31 degrees. It's 31 degrees. Now the wind chill it's 14-mile-an-hour winds in New England. But isn't that funny? And you're talking about kickers. I love it. But I wanted to point out when I saw you mention that game with the weather, I just thought that was crazy because, in December every year, I'm just waiting to see the snow games. I love those. We haven't had any. And watch, by the time this game goes, we won't get a drop of snow or a flake of snow. That'd be kind of funny. It'd be so fitting. But the weather is like crazy, right? It's been a very crazy weather year. And again, Jay, you finished in second place. All right, well, that's a good thing, though. And you're in the championship this week? Oh, okay. But that was the part of the kidding. I got you. Second place. All right, next year you'll win first. That's the way we'll look at that. And you know the drill. Athletics, thanks for being here. Appreciate you as well. See Matt Gold, 2186. PPR, Monty, Lockett, or Watson if he goes. So Monty is in, let me check the times of these games. Monty's in an early game. And then Lockett and Watson would be in late games. You have Debo and Puka. I'd be very concerned about Debo's playing time. If he got more than 3 touches, I would be stunned. He has an injury history, right? And he's been hurt this year. It would be just really bad business by Kyle Shanahan if he put Debo out there for more than a couple snaps and decoy at most on those. Puka's a rookie. He probably gets a few looks, but again, I mean, McVay's not playing anybody, right? And do you trust Carson Wentz to get him the ball, right? Oh my God, that's not easy. That's not easy. So yeah, he very, very rightfully understood. And I can see Puka playing 10 snaps and being done for the day. And even then, they might just run the ball. I mean, this game could be really ugly on that end. So look, Monty has a floor every week, and it's not like they ran very well on Minnesota 2 weeks ago. And Monty's going to have that double-digit floor. He's going to get you to 10 points. If he gets a touchdown, he gets you closer to 15. I don't see too many worlds. I mean, he hasn't shown bust potential like on a weekly basis. He's going to get you 12 to 15 carries in this one. So I just think you trust him there. Lockett has been really up and down. Last week was bad. And but now obviously the matchup is beautiful. Arizona doesn't rush. They can't cover. And Geno has a $2 million bonus. Not that of course they want to win to make the playoffs. They make the playoffs. Geno gets $2 million. So he'd be a little incentivized to get the ball to his weapons. Watson, it's going to be hard to trust because if you need one, I almost think you start Monty in the early game. But if you need boom bust, I think Lockett has boom bust potential, but there's more bust than boom. I think age is catching up to him a little bit. I think it's a Metcalf. I really penciled as a Metcalf. Metcalf is my GPP play. I would just take the floor at Monty. I would take the floor at Monty because there's always 2 touchdown upside, right? But totally understand about the Debo and Puka. I mean, really, it's going to be really hard to play him. I would trust Puka more than Debo if there's that because the rookie could get some more playing time. Debo, if he gets a touch, it would be stunning. Jay, is Washington starting their starters? Yeah, well, my God, they just show up and they fold, right? That's a good question. Well, all right, Ron Rivera is going to be out of a job. My guess is he's the kind of guy that doesn't care what the organization thinks at this point because he probably knows, he's fired. So it's all up in the air. I could see McLaurin sitting quite a bit. Some of these players probably pushing to sit, right? It's a very tough one to answer. But they definitely could be folding for second or one. But could you really see Ron Rivera saying he's in on that? Especially with him being gone, he has no motivation. It was almost like last year. Remember the Texans, Lovie Smith, right? They needed to lose that game to have the number 1 seed, and Lovie Smith, man, just had to beat the Colts. Last play of the game, they beat them. And he screwed the organization out of the pick. I could see Ron Rivera doing that. Not that he deserves to be gone, but I could totally see Ron Rivera saying, you know what? I want to win this game so they don't get their franchise quarterback. It's all speculation. Thomas, Khalil, Roshan, Jordan Mason, or Elijah Mitchell. So Herbert looks to be a full go. Look, he's got 100 yards in each of the last 2 games. The Packers are not a great run defense. They're not. They're middling. A little worse than middling. They're not as bad as last year. Last year, in the year before, they were terrible. Khalil Herbert should get you 75 plus yards in this game, right? Now the Packers could score a lot of points. Here's the deal, though, right? So we got a game script this one out, right? If the Packers, Jalen Johnson's out for the Bears. He's their best corner. That's a tough hit. Packers are rolling an offense. The Bears have been playing good defense, but the offensive line can pass protect for Green Bay. So if Green Bay gets out to a big lead, so it's your projection. If you think Green Bay's going to have a big lead, then Roshan's your play. He's the hurry up back. He's the pass protector. So he would be in play. Otherwise, if you think the game's going to be close throughout, then you got to go Khalil Herbert. And then the other ones, it's all going to be narrative on the Jordan Mason, Elijah Mitchell one. I personally think because Elijah Mitchell has been hurt so much, he's always on the injury report, and I don't think they want to get him hurt in a game. They need him. They might need him for the playoffs. So I would imagine Jordan Mason has the leg up on that. So I would say Herbert has, again, his game script on that Bears one. So you got to pick your game script. I'm going to personally say the Bears hang in. That's my game script. So I'm going to say Khalil Herbert's my play. Jordan Mason is also a strong play, but if Trent Williams doesn't play, that hurts their offensive line. I'm going to give Herbert the edge. But again, if you think the Bears are going to get in a shootout, they're going to get like trail, then go with Roshan. Parker, flex PPR, Diggs, Henry, or Ridley. I played the narrative street here. Henry, all right, the 2 games against Houston, he was horrible. But all his other home games, he's been good. Even in the game, he didn't have yardage. I can't remember which game that was, but he had 2 touchdowns. And there's a game with the yardage, he had 2 touchdowns. At home, he's been good. And this is probably his last game with the team. So at this point, I've got to say that he's the play. Diggs, it's been horrible. And I know he had 3 touchdowns and a ton of yardage against Miami, but he has had 100 yards. He has had 90 yards since week 6. And in 6 of his last 7 games, maybe even 7 of 8, he hasn't had double-digit fantasy points, PPR. So I can't trust him. He has not shown any. There's something wrong there. And he was playing less than 70% of the snaps, too. He was on the sideline for 3rd downs. Ridley, he went off against this defense the last time they played. They got him in motion. They got him in stacks. They didn't keep going back to that. Ridley's your boom-bust play. They need him, but Trevor Lawrence is far less than 100%. Henry, to me, has a floor. His last game, you think they're going to give him a lot of work. They're going to try to get him a touchdown. It's narrative. I'm starting Henry for floor. If you want extreme boom bust, it'd be Ridley. I can't trust Diggs right now. Barton Scott Land. Sorry, I can't read. Eyes are old. IDP. You know what? IDP, I don't do IDP. I'm sorry. I wish I had an answer for you on that one. And I don't know, again, with defensive players, I'm not even sure about like starting and sitting. So I wish I had an answer for you on that one. So Devin Bush is the only one without a meaningful game. Yeah, I just don't do IDP. I'm sorry. I wish I had an answer for you. I apologize. Chad, don't think Puka's a concern with offensive rookie of the year on the line. Maybe not. But do you think any voters are going to take week 18 into account for offensive rookie of the year? I mean, does he already have the rookie yardage record? Not as close. I don't think he needs much. So maybe, right? Maybe so. It's possible. But you got to think Sean McVay thinks they're dangerous in the playoffs. And Puka's been fine, but he gets nicked up a lot. And if they were to get him hurt before the playoffs, what a ding that would be to them. Like Stroud, they had to play Stroud. They had to win for the playoffs. But man, and maybe you're right. I just don't think offensive rookie of the year to Sean McVay is any shakes when he knows he needs him for the playoffs, because I really believe they think they could be dangerous in January. Fields or Hurts, Juan. Well, Philly could be scoreboard watching. If Dallas gets out to, let's say, I have no idea, how Washington comes out here. If Dallas somehow comes out in this game with a big lead, Philly could pull their starters. I think there's no scenario where Justin Fields doesn't go all out here, and he's playing Joe Barry's defense. I think Fields is safer. If Philly gets a big enough lead, now it could be Hurts that gets him there to that big lead, so he could be fine. But there's a lot of scenarios where they could pull him early. He's been beat up this year. Knee's been a problem. I think Fields is safer. Joshua, good morning to you as well. Should you start Derek Carr or Jake Browning? Cleveland, Cincinnati. They say Jamar Chase is playing. They're idiots for playing him if they do, if he's been banged up. I could see this game being a lot of running. I could see both teams running the ball a ton here. Cleveland's not going to be playing people. Cincinnati, it's not going to be like this moral victory if they win because they're playing a team that's not playing. They know that already. I think Chase Brown gets a lot of run here. I think Andre Yoshivas gets a lot of run here. We're not going to see T. Higgins. Derek Carr threw for 300 yards against this defense the last time. No touchdowns, just 5 field goals. But I do think at home, Carr does a bit better. Kamara is going to be ruled in or out in the next 15 minutes. My guess is he's not playing. That's going to make them pass more. I'd lean Derek Carr. Yeah, and you be blessed and you stay safe as well. Chad, since we are light on questions, get a coaching futures odds. Yes, the Commanders are the odds-on favorite for Belichick. Is that purely because of the draft capital or because otherwise? Good question. Good question. Now, there's buzz coming out that Belichick and Kraft never had to talk about his next year's status. So there's that. I don't know what to really make of that. I think ultimately the new ownership group there, they probably are really looking to put a big stamp on that organization that clears them of the big mess. Oh, Chad, thank you. Kamara was ruled out. So there makes Derek Carr a better play because they're going to need the receivers more in this one. And Juwan Johnson is fine with the chest. So Chad, back to I think that ownership group is going to want to get the stink of Daniel Snyder completely gone. And I think bringing in a culture changer like Belichick would be the way to go. So I could see that being the case. But I think we're going to have there are going to be teams that could offer Belichick an awful lot if they think he's the one ingredient. And I think there's a lot of teams that have been quiet. So I do get the odds-on favorite, but man, I think there's going to be teams coming out of the woodwork here. I can't tell you which teams, but I think there's going to be teams coming out of the woodwork. So I think that's going to be interesting. But I think Belichick, does he go to the highest bidder? Probably not. I think defensively, that's going to be a problem. They got rid of their 2 edge rushers. The cupboard's kind of bare defensively. So that's going to be – he's a defensive guy, right? I bet you he doesn't end up there. It's a great question. Doug, set your lineup. Yep, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a tight end, a flex, full PPR. Love Aaron Jones this week. 120 yards in 2 straight games. Hasn't found the end zone. Historically, he's done well against the Bears, and this could be the end zone week for him. Do like Jordan Mason over Mitchell. Mitchell, he's always on the injury report. I have to think Shanahan realizes that and wants to be careful with him. I think Mason is more expendable. Jamal Williams will have a role. Atlanta's not as lights out against the run as they were. Now, could they bring other people into the backfield to get some work? Maybe. Could Taysom Hill have more of a role in the running game? Maybe. So I do think it's easier to pass on Atlanta than to run on them. Pierre Strong should get a lot of run this week at Cincinnati, and Cincinnati was not good against the run all year anyway, and they're not motivated. So there's an idea there. So with your 2 running backs, I'm definitely going Aaron Jones. And then for the next one, I honestly want to give Jordan Mason the edge, but I doubt Trent Williams plays. Jamal Williams probably has the best floor of that group. I think Pierre Strong is your boom bust play. So I'm going to say Jones in, Jamal Williams floor play. The boom bust play is Pierre Strong because he could do really well here. And then your 2 receivers. Look, I don't know what they're going to do with CeeDee Lamb, but I just can't really sit him because even if he plays a half, he could go for 100 yards. And Washington, their corners obviously can't cover. They can't rush, trade away their pass rushers. I do like Slayton this week. I do like Slayton because Dable faced his defense when he's on the Bradbury side of the field, which should be probably half of the time. I don't think Bradbury can hang with him down. They're going to take shots at him, I think. Dortch, I think they're going to run the ball a lot. Seattle can't tackle. I think it's a big running game for them. Tutu Atwell, I can't trust Carson Wentz to get him the ball. Christian Kirk, It's an early game, and they said, and the line was, Ian Rappaport said that he's not so optimistic about Kirk. That means he's not 100%. So I'm worried about Kirk here. Woods, I'm trying to think Woods. I mean, Robert Woods was yesterday, and he was ruled out. So maybe that's what you mean. But I don't. There's another Woods I'm missing, but I don't think so. And then Ingram and Taysom. All right, so I like Lamb for sure, and then Slayton. Slayton be my second choice for your flex. For your tight end, now you're tight end. I'm going Ingram. Because even if Trevor Lawrence is good to go, he's less than 100%, but he's probably not going to be chucking the ball downfield. To me, that's an Ingram game. And again, I don't think Kirk is close to 100%, so I think Ingram's going to be heavily used here. I would almost take my risk with Taysom as your flex, because I think with Kamara out, they're going to need him more. The snap share has been down in the last 3 weeks. Now, last week it went up a little bit. It was like 17, 18%, like weeks 15 and 16. Last week it was closer to 35, but I think they might need him more. So that's how I'd roll with that. And then SV, Morningstar, Kirk or Godwin? Well, you just heard me talk about Kirk. Look, Godwin is a must-win. He has been gobbling up targets the last 3 to 4 games. And I have to think that that's more of the same in this battle. Mike Evans is getting bracketed, and now Godwin's become a favored target. I'm going to give Godwin the edge here. Andrea, good morning. All right, Lewinsky, Films, A.J. Brown or Amon-Ra St. Brown? I am going to go with Amon-Ra St. Brown for the following reason. My narrative is that Dan Campbell's playing to win. I don't think he is taking it for granted that Dallas wins and Philly wins, because if they both lose in the range of outcomes, and if the Lions win, they get the 2 seed. And I think they know how valuable that is. I don't think they'll take anything for granted. If you believe differently, then you could view this differently. St. Brown was 12 for $106 and a touchdown, I think, last time they played this team 2 weeks ago. And I don't think Minnesota has an answer for him. A.J. Brown, obviously the numbers have been down the last few weeks. And again, as I mentioned earlier, I just see a world where if Philly scoreboard watching and if Dallas gets way out, I think they pull their starters because they're playing next week. A.J. Brown is your boom bust play, because if they leave him in, he could go off. But he could be pulled. A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, high floor, strong ceiling. He's the safe play. But if you got to go swing for the fence and take the chance for the low side, it'd be Brown. Andrea, you got 2 seconds, and 1 first out of 10. That's a great season. Next year, hopefully we do even better, but that's a great season. Great work. You did a wonderful job this season. All right, Chad, throw a dynasty question out there. Devin Neal, somewhat surprising in school, making the top running back for 20. So, Chad, here's my deal. I do all of my college research once the NFL season is over. I will grind film on college players. I will learn all I can, but I am so immersed in NFL that I am literally spending 60 hours a week on NFL. So I will learn college as soon as the season's over, and I'll learn it very, very well. I'll be very well versed in it. But yeah, right now, these names don't even register on the radar. So I'm sorry about that. But yeah, that's how I get to be what I do in the NFL, because I am just so hyper focused on it during the season. Northeast weather, any games that totally got low enough. So when I checked the weather on NFLweather.com this morning, the only game I saw with wind was the New England Jets game. That was a snow game as well. 100% chance of snow, it said. It was the only game that was like below freezing. It was 31 degrees, like 1 degree below freezing. So that's the only game on NFLweather.com as of it was right before my Sirius show this morning. So I had to eat breakfast afterwards. I haven't checked it since. That was the only game with a weather concern that I saw. The other ones were all like low winds, moderate temperatures, and like no precipitation, like less than 10%. So, and SV, you are welcome. All right, everybody, looks like we're good here. Appreciate every one of you. Thank you for hanging with me. Enjoy weekend. I'll be back Monday with a reaction show, Anthony Servino. Remember, I'm going to pre-tape a show. I'll tell you tomorrow, I'll put it up there won't be one with interaction, but I'll go through, if you're doing a fantasy playoff challenge, I'll have a guide ready for you. On RotoWire, I'll have an article up on that on Tuesday. If you want a free look at that, on Tuesday, go to rotowire.com/Jim. Free trial, 2 days. Just use your email address. No credit card needed. You can check that out. We'll do shows next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. Get you ready for the playoff action. Remember, I'll have a Super Bowl marathon the week of. Catch me on the X at Jim Coventry NFL. I'll always update what I have going on. Again, I appreciate every one of you. Enjoy the games and good luck if you're playing. And if not, we'll talk soon. All right. Take care, everybody.